outdoors in a beautiful location. I am in Canmore in just outside Banff, Alberta, which is not far from my house, and staying with my girlfriends for our annual sewing weekend. And I thought, what better place for me to do a review of the Halifax hoodie, since it's so warm and cozy and it's quite chilly out here. And I am sitting out on the balcony and the sun is shining. It's beautiful, so it's a little bit hard to see the background, but I will try and give you a view of what I'm seeing. And I'm also going to add some additional video for you to look at, but I'll just do a little pan here so you can kind of see. So yes, we are in an absolutely gorgeous location right now, and I'm very lucky to get the opportunity to do this once a year. Hey guys, as you can see, I am no longer in the mountains. I have changed locations. Unfortunately, while I was filming in that beautiful location, my microphone crapped out on me. So I have all this great footage that you can't hear a word I'm saying, which sucks. However, that motivated me to hurry up and get a proper microphone. So I have a good microphone now. We shouldn't have any real issues unless I get too far away from it. But unfortunately, now I'm in my studio and the lighting isn't nearly as good in here as it is outside. I have no windows in my studio, sadly. I'm in the basement, but I can't really complain because look at this thing. It's amazing. So this is my studio. It is actually quite bright in here, but for whatever reason, the camera really kind of gives it a funny lighting, very yellowy kind of lighting, but it's actually really quite bright in here. So anyways, I am going to continue to talk to you about the Halifax hoodie since everything I said ended up being muted. So let's begin. I'm wearing it again. It is actually several days later. I have washed it since I've been home, so it is clean. So yes, let's talk about the Halifax hoodie. I'm going to just move over a little bit so that I have more space to pop some pictures up just to show you. You will see here that the pattern is a great bargain for what you spend because you get 5 different views, and the one that I made was view B, and that's the one with the high-low hem. It's got the twisted wraparound front seams, which I'll show you in a half a minute. There is no hood on this one, and it also doesn't have the funnel neck. It just has a nice, just basic neckline. So that is view B. Now, you can also get a zippered front. I've got my notes in front of me, so that's why I'm looking down, sorry. You can have the zipper in the front. You can opt for that, or you can just have it be a pullover with the hood. The funnel neck, as I mentioned, there's a kangaroo pocket in the front if you want that. You've got the high-low hem and the twisted seams in this particular view. So there's a lot of options. So really, really good price for this pattern because you get a lot for the money. Let's talk sizing for a minute. I'm going to give you the dirty details. So I really don't care. You know what? I sort of feel like in this sewing community, we have to help each other out. And I have a tendency to look for sewers who have a similar body type to me so that I can see what they're making and what looks really good. And so I'm just going to lay it on the line for you. So if you've watched my previous videos, you know that I'm short. I'm 5'2". Most of my height is in my legs, so I'm very short in the torso. For the top, when I picked my size, I always base tops and dresses on my bust size. Just so you know, I have a full bust of 37.5 inches, and I have a high bust of 34.5 inches. My general rule is to always pick the pattern based on my high bust measurement and do a full bust adjustment. However, when it comes to sewing with knits, I will bend my rules a little bit simply because knits have stretch. So what I usually will like to do, if the pattern provides the finished measurement, I go by that typically, and that usually seems to serve me well. So based on this particular pattern, it put me right between a medium and a large. I ended up going with a medium. And most of the reason was because when I looked at the finished measurement, which was 40 inches, and then I pulled some things out of my closet and just measured them, just flat measured them to see how big they were, I typically seem to gravitate towards store-bought clothes
like this that are roughly between 37 and 39 inches. So I thought, okay, it's 40, no problem, let's start there. That's what I did. Cut a medium, didn't make any other changes, just cut it and sewed it. So that's what I am wearing right now. So let me just step back and show you what that looks like. Okay, so as you can see, here's the shirt right here, and you can see the high hem happening right here, and then it scoops down into a low hem in the back. So it covers up the bum quite nicely for these cold climates. There is a bottom band on the shirt as well, or the sweater, as well as cuffs on the wrist, and then there's just a neck band here on the neck. And there is wraparound seams. I can feel them with my hands to sort of come like this. It's harder to see that in this print or in this fabric, but if I show you this one, you can really see it in this one right there. And there's a loose thread I need to trim off. Oh no, just a stray. So it's got those nice wraparound seams. The only thing I did, once I made this red one, I had decided that it's just marginally too long for me. So I did remove an inch out of the length at the lengthen and shorten line in the body. I removed an inch, and so that green one has an inch removed. I like it a little bit better in that it's slightly shorter. The problem is when I sewed the green one, I serged it. I didn't sew it on my sewing machine first. Typically, I sew on my machine and then I take things to the serger and finish them off, which gives me a really accurate seam because I'm following the seam allowance guidelines on my machine. I find it's harder to follow seam allowances on my serger because they're not on, the lines aren't on the bed of the serger, they're kind of up in front of you. So I kind of got a little bit cocky with this one. I was like, it's going to fit fine, so I'll just take it straight to the serger and just sort of eyeball it. And I think I took slightly smaller seams when I serged the green one as opposed to the red one. When I sewed it, I was absolutely sure I took 3/8 inch seams. I like to be very accurate with that. And that little tiny difference actually made a significant difference in the fit. So I find the green one a little bit looser. So I think it's a combination of those seams and also the fact that that fabric is a bit stretchier. But it's the right length now. So I'll make it again. I'm going to make it several times. So that's it. The instructions for this pattern, just so you know, if you're a beginner, you do have to jump around a little bit because there's 5 views. It would not make sense to have the instructions for each view one after the other. You'd end up with like 150 pages of instructions. So because a lot of the techniques, such as putting in your sleeve, is the same on every single view, the pattern has you jump back to the page where they put in the sleeve. So some people don't like that and some people don't care. I don't care. I don't mind jumping back and forth. And then that way I didn't have to print so many pages. Another note on printing, typically I do not mind at all printing my patterns at home on my home printer and then taping them together. This pattern is massive. So I had a look at the pages. I can't even remember how many. There were so many. And I thought, I'm going to just take it to the print shop. It was a $10 pattern. I got like 5 various styles in that pattern. So it was totally worth it for me to take it to a print shop and pay another $10 and have them printed on large scale paper. So I just took it home and traced it onto medical exam paper. And that's something I want to point out. Hang on, I'm going to show you something. So one of the things that I buy a lot of, especially because in my classes that I teach, I encourage my students to trace their patterns and not cut them because patterns aren't cheap. And you might make a size and then decide you want a size bigger or smaller. You might want to make it for a friend or someone else. So what I do is I go to a health supply store and I buy these huge rolls. This is like half gone already of tissue paper, and it's the medical exam table paper. It's the stuff that's on your doctor's bed. It's really durable. It's nice and see-through. So if you are tracing, a pattern, you can really see through that, and it irons great. Now, I don't fold my patterns anymore. I actually have a hanging system for everything that I make that I love. So anything that's tried and true just gets hung up. I don't fold them. But if I do have to fold it and then take it out, a year later,
it irons out beautifully. So this is my one of my favorite go-to items in my studio, and I probably have about 24 rolls in that little shelving unit over there and in that storage room. And $5, that's what these cost, $5. So if you've ever bought tracing paper at the fabric store, you know it's not $5. It's actually quite expensive. So this stuff is an amazing bargain if you are going to keep sewing, and especially if you are going to take all that time to print a pattern and then tape it all together. The last thing you want to do is cut it and then realize, darn it, I needed a size bigger or smaller, and now you've got to print all those pages and tape them again. So this is a great alternative to that. I trace everything anyways because I like to keep everything intact. I like all my patterns to be as perfect as they were the day I bought them. Okay, level. I think that this pattern is fine for a beginner. I think as long as you've sewn a couple of things, no problem. It would be probably not a bad idea to have sewn with knits once or twice before you take on this pattern. But I think a confident beginner could do this for sure. I don't think it would be that difficult. So all in all, I love this pattern. I think it's a great bargain. I'm excited, especially where I live. It's cold 6 months out of the year. So I like to have lots of really casual pullovers, hoodies. You know, I live in them basically outside of my 4-hour workday. So for me, this pattern is awesome, and I've just downloaded the toaster sweater that everybody has sewn. I'm so excited to try that one. And I just finished making another sweater, McCall's pattern, that I'm going to review right after this one. So yeah, if you want to see that, check that out. It turned out really awesome too. I quite like that one. In fact, I think I might like that one a little bit more in certain aspects, and I'll talk about that. But anyways, that is it for me. I'm going to just finish this video off with a quick snippet of some of the pictures and the video that I took when I was in Canmore, because it was just too beautiful not to share with you guys, and I'm so mad that that video didn't work out. So everybody, I hope you have a great evening. Take care. Bye.